I'm a little slow this morning because a little bit hungover. But Doctor Who, if you don't drink, it's going to lead you to drinking because it's so painful to watch. It's very difficult to do sober, I got to tell you. And this episode was no exception. It was a complete train wreck, just like every other episode of Doctor Who this season. I'll start out with something positive though. At least it wasn't gay. So this is the thank you for at least having the season finale not be gay. I appreciate that, Russell T Davies. But this is a second parter of Sutek destroying the world, trying to bring that back from the original Doctor Who era, and with all of the things going on in this, I noticed that like Russell T Davies this season really is pushing, dropping a few references of original Doctor Who before he got there in 2005 to like try very, very hard to be like, look, we are continuing the show and it's the same show because they have to tell you. Otherwise, it doesn't look like Doctor Who. It doesn't seem like Doctor Who. The character doesn't actually act like the Doctor in any regard, and it's just a disaster. So he puts all these complications in here to hide the fact that like this whole plot is nonsensical to begin with, and then hopes that like just shoving as much stuff in front of the screen as possible and distracting you with all these like different different naming conventions mattering, Susan Triad or Ruby Sunday. What does Ruby Sunday mean? All these little like rhetorical tricks with names. And trying to tie it all together makes for somehow like some exciting writing, which just isn't the case. And even though this was a episode where Sutek showed up, and I guess spoilers if you care. And even though the character was killing everybody, like everybody was going to die, it just played on too many nonsensical things that were like plot contrivances. Like, oh, this wouldn't, if the enemy just, killed everybody like he thought, rather than just like letting Ruby Sunday live for no reason, this wouldn't have happened. There wouldn't have been a problem for the villain. Very weird. And so we'll get into the plot in just a moment. All right, my name's John Delarose, and I would love for you to hit the like and subscribe button if you're new here. Join us, become a channel member, and support our efforts here to talk about culture. I am also a science fiction writer, as the title says, and this is my series, The Stars Entwined. This is a trilogy that I wrote several years back, and I'm actually spinning a space exploration universe out of this. I'm currently writing a new book, which builds on the world building I did here. So check out this right now. I've got a full trilogy for you on Amazon, and it's done completely in audio, if that's the way you prefer to read, or you can get an ebook or regular. And I'll have that link in the description below for you. Thank you so much for supporting our channel. You guys have been amazing. Doctor Who fans are big readers, it turns out, and makes sense. You're smarter people than the average bear, and that's what's so insulting about this. It's really insulting to our intelligences to watch this episode like this. And so it's they start out with Sutek, and he's killing people. He kills all the unit people. He kills Ruby Sunday's adopted parents, and you watch this while the Doctor just stands there and cries. This isn't your old Doctor of the past where he's like a figure who's like, I'm gonna stop this and I'm coming up with a plan. Now there is a plan that eventually comes up with it. And it's really weird how this is framed. I mean, the Doctor stands around and cries like almost the entire episode. But then, like, what happens is once we get into the finale, where he's actually solving the problem, kind of, Ruby really solves the problem. It twists us to it does this flashback to like earlier in the scene, saying, "Oh, this is what really happened." So even though we saw it on screen, what was happening, like there was a really happened portion of it that we, quote, missed, and it wasn't shown to us. So again, this is another thing that just like insults the audience's intelligence, because, like we're in the perspective where we're seeing the Doctor the entire episode, and he's just screaming and crying and looking like he's just completely defeated, oh, but it was just a ruse. Here's the scene that you missed because it wasn't actually in the show. Very weird way of doing things in order to like progress the plot along. And that's what this whole season has felt like to me. Like Russell T Davies just wants to progress the plot along. It's like he turned in a first draft. He's like, I wrote myself into a corner. Gotta finish this somehow. Let's just turn this in. And that's what every episode's felt like so far. So after the whole unit thing, they all die. And Mel is a big part of this as well. She's been coming back a bit. I guess she needs some work. And they show up at the center. Ruby Sunday is still in like this like holographic time window thing that they did last episode, which doesn't make a lot of sense either. And the rules of it change like by the minute. It's just a time window, but you can actually interact with it. Like the things can see you in there. You can pull things from it. It's very weird. And then they end up going into the time window TARDIS because Sutek's taken over the real TARDIS. And the time window TARDIS actually acts like a real TARDIS, and he calls it a memory TARDIS. And it's memory tarded, I think. I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the heck? And it's just got a bunch of like little trinkets from Doctor Who history to like give you member berries about that. And Ruby Sunday literally just like wills it into existence as just a person by just remembering as hard as she can. Doesn't make any sense. Again, like, why does she have the power to do this? Like, and if she can just will things into existence now, why can't she just will things into existence the rest of the time? There's no consistency in what goes on in these episodes. And so that makes no sense. But then they hop on this fake TARDIS, and it's kind of busted up because it's, there's missing memories and things like that. He jumps off at a random planet, talks to a random lady who's like sad. I don't know if we have a picture of the sad lady. Is there a picture of the sad lady on here? I've only got so many pictures. No, we don't have a picture of the sad lady. But he jumps off at a random planet, and then she just goes, "You have a very nice face," and so she like gives him like her last piece of metal, a spoon, and then he plugs that spoon into the time TARDIS, and it makes it better. It makes no sense. So then they show up at Sutek, and again, Sutek just doesn't kill them. He just like sits there, and like for some reason, Sutek really cares about who Ruby Sunday's mother is, and so she's able to be like, "I'll tell you who my mother is," and she gets up close to Sutek without Sutek doing anything to her. Again, just a plot contrivance that makes no sense. If this guy's trying to kill everybody, why does he care who Ruby Sunday's mother is? She's dead because he just turned her to dust along with everybody else. And they actually tell you these are the last two people in the universe there when this happens. Very weird. Again, just like it's a giant plot hole, and it doesn't make sense. And so she just puts a leash around Sutek, and then they run into the TARDIS, and Sutek, even though he's got a leash around him, but for some reason can't dust them at this point. That doesn't make sense either. Then they run off into the fake memory TARDIS. I guess they run off into the real TARDIS at this point, and they take over the real TARDIS, and Sutek does nothing to stop them. Why? Again, let's not answer that plot hole. And then we learned that like this whole memory TARDIS exists because like he ties it into the 73 yards episode. There's like this psychic projection it does that at 73 yards, and that kind of alludes to the mystery of that, but doesn't quite answer it. So again, he's working so hard to tie everything in with just like little plot contrivances that are big plot holes and don't make any sense. And so then they go through that, and the worst part of this is the Doctor standing in front of the TARDIS in like bad CGI outside, and he yells at Sutek. And this is something about SJW, and we're going to get into the messaging in this. Oh, yeah, I forgot about Sutek. Why is he Egyptian now? And why does he look Egyptian? They do a big stop about it, and Nikudigawa goes, "Cultural appropriation." Just to remind you that this is a woke show. It's like, God, at least it didn't go gay. I guess Sutek. I'm glad the Doctor wasn't gay with Sutek. Thank God we got past that. But it's cultural appropriation, and that just made me think. Well, you're a Rwandan guy culturally appropriating British TV to put you in. Isn't that a bad thing? But hey, consistency is never their strong suit. So he gets mad because, he's going to have to kill Sutek in order to bring about life and bring everybody back, which, again, doesn't really make a ton of sense. But as he pulls Sutek through like a time vortex with the TARDIS, like everybody just comes back to life for some reason. Okay. Doesn't make sense. And again, if you could do that, why didn't he just do that earlier? It didn't build up to that. It didn't give us any clues on how to defeat Sutek or anything like that. It was just nonsensical, and you're just supposed to accept it. Now, when he does this, he rants, about how he laments that he has to kill Sutek in order to do this. He's like, "You won, really? I have to abandon my morals." And this always drives me crazy about modern SJW fiction. The only morals that these people have, it comes from comic books, is that they don't kill. Batman will not kill, no matter what. It doesn't matter if the Joker's about to unleash poison gas on everybody and kill everybody. He will not kill. So in this one, the Doctor has Sutek trapped. He's not going to bother to come up with another way. He is just going to kill him, but he's going to be sad about it and cries. Of course, because he cries the whole episode. Just very un-Doctor Who-like. Terrible writing, again, of the character that's just been bastardized. And again, like why would he lament killing this monster? Like, if the death of this monster just brings back everybody who, and he was going to kill everything in all of reality. Don't lament that. That's stupid. Oh well. There is a point also where the Doctor literally just stands in the TARDIS out in space, and they open it up to space, and he puts his legs over the side in a vacuum, which makes no sense, and starts screaming and crying while the two women console him. So it is just a totally emasculated Doctor who's just like a petulant child screaming and crying. I guess that's what a nice that really sums up the show nicely. It is like a petulant child screaming and crying. The actors have done it, calling all the fans racist. Russell T Davies has done it. He's throwing a fit at the fans also. It's ridiculous. But then they get back. And there's still 10, 15 minutes left of the episode, and they're and Ruby's like, "Who's my mommy?" And they can plug in to Unit's DNA machine and just ask who the mommy is. Well, why didn't they do that at the beginning of if they had this ability the entire time? Again, why did they wait till now to do this? And in the ultimate letdown after this whole big mystery, Ruby, remember, can create snow because she's got all these superpowers, right? And it turns out her mom's just some random nurse who had a kid when she was 15, didn't want to keep the baby because she didn't think she could handle it at 15, dropped her off at a church, and named her Ruby because it was the road. And that was it. Wow. What a letdown. And then they did this whole thing trying to make a message out of it, which is whatever's important and she's the most important person in the world because we thought she was. And I guess the message is again, this is weird SJW morals that come from having no morals, having no objective truth, having nihilism. All that matters is what we think matters. And it's huh? Okay. I mean, that's why Doctor Who fails at the end of the day. That's why this Nikuti-Gatwa version is an abject failure, because there are no morals. There is no good guys. There's no, if we think they're good guys, they're good guys. If we think they're bad guys, it's mob mentality. And that's exactly what the woke are. It's just a nightmare. And so took a long time to figure that out. The Doctor cries again because he's going to leave Ruby with her family as she meets her mother, who's just a nobody. Doesn't explain how she can create snow all the time. Doesn't explain why everything's centered around Ruby. She just doesn't matter. And again, it's just a nonsensical ending because you've set all this stuff up. Then the Mrs. Flood lady, who's Ruby's neighbor or whatnot, who said some weird things in the episode, who alludes to the fact that she's some goddess or god or something too. Of course, who isn't? She looks at the camera and narrates at us in a breaking the fourth wall thing to end the show. Again, just throwing you out of the immersion that this, Doctor Who's no longer something that exists within reality at all. It's just a campy, silly thing where people break the fourth wall and talk to you. And they warn the Doctor's going to live in abject terror. Oh no. Oh yes. So they set up the next season, I guess, with that. And this is just, again, it's just a cluster mess of an episode. But at least it wasn't gay. At least it wasn't gay. That's the bar at this point. So, yeah, I mean, a big letdown all the way around. Poor writing, big plot holes. Pacing was terrible. I mean, you had these whole stretches where it looks like they were... It's weird because the episode was 56 minutes long, and it looks like they were trying to stretch out runtime, which doesn't make any sense because, I mean, when you kind of want it to be 42 minutes, I guess nobody cares about the actual TV time anymore. And, gosh, this is... the other good news is there's no more Doctor Who this season. The bad news, though, they already filmed the next season. So let's hope the ratings are low enough that this gets canceled because, like, this is really a bastardization of the character. It is a humiliation ritual where they're sticking middle fingers to the fans with these efforts, and this is some of the worst stuff I've ever seen on TV. Gosh, makes the Acolyte look good. It really does. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure to check out my science fiction on Amazon in the description below. Thank you guys for the support. We'll be back soon.